Policies of assimilation and policies of integration involves outright suppression of the ethnic, religious or linguistic groups. So integration and assimilation policies suppress the ethnic, religious or linguistic groups. They erode the cultural difference between groups, and the cultural difference between groups is also minimized. Policies of integration seek to assert a single national identity by attempting to eliminate ethno-national and cultural differences. So, integration policy tries to create a feeling of a single national identity by attempting to eliminate ethno-national and cultural differences from the public and political arena, while allowing them in the private domain. So, publicly, all these ethno-national and cultural differences are occurred, are minimized, and they are all left to be practiced in the private domain. The aim at persuading, encouraging or forcing all citizens to adopt a uniform set of cultural values and norms, and all the citizens of the nation, they are forced to follow a uniform system of norms and values. These norms and values are usually entirely or largely those of the dominant social groups, and these norms and values are formed by the dominant social groups. Other non-dominant or subordinate groups in society are expected or required to give up their own cultural values and adopt the prescribed ones, and the non-dominant or the subordinate groups, they have to forego their own cultural and social values, and they are forced to adopt the prescribed ones. Policies promoting integration insist that the public culture be restricted to a common national pattern, and these policies are made so that the public structure should be adopted at a national level, while all non-national cultures be relegated to the private domain, and the other cultures which are followed individually by individual communities or different groups, they may follow it in a private domain. Here too there is a danger of the dominant group's culture being treated as national culture, and again a danger arises that the dominant group will enforce their own culture to be adopted by all the citizens of the nation. As states have observed that citizens are more concerned to their ascriptive identities, but it may harm the unity of the state or nation, the states to establish their political legitimacy are restoring to either suppress or ignore the outcomes on the political domain. So, the states have observed that citizens are more concerned with their ascriptive identities, and they may harm the unity of the state or the nation. Therefore, the states establish their political legitimacy and tries to restore, to either suppress or ignore the outcomes of the political domain. The nationalism is essential for a country to overcome this problem, and for getting rid of this problem, it is very essential that nationalism should be spread in the country. The principle of nationalism is based on commitment, which is usually passionate commitment to one's nation, everything related to it. And this, the principle of nationalism is the commitment towards one's nation in all matters, putting the nation first, being based in its favor, putting the nation first and being biased in its favor. And every person should have the feeling of being a member of the nation and should be biased towards the nation. Obviously, the ideology that commonness of language, religion, history, etc. make the communities distinctive and unique. In case of India, ambivalence and dualism in terms of nationalism is witnessed in the sense that it is simultaneously both an inclusive and democratic vision. In India, nationalism is a democratic and an inclusive vision of the country. Vision that is an acute contradiction. One side, the nationalism recognizes diversity and plurality, while about the exclusion and discrimination from the society on the other. At one end, nationalism is preferred, and on the other hand, social exclusion, discrimination, and all such types of evils are carried out. In other words, exclusion and discrimination cannot be eradicated from social hierarchy if the nationalism observe an inclusive approach for diversity and plurality. If nationalism observe inclusive approach for diversity and plurality of the society, then exclusion and discrimination cannot be eradicated from social hierarchy. An average citizen of India cannot understand so cryptic meaning of relationship of aspects of nationalism. For example, state is secular, still it provides subsidies for Hajj pilgrimage and pilgrimage of holy places in Himalayan peaks. Diversity and the Indian nation state, an overview. Within cultural diversity, the larger national, regional or many different kinds of cultural communities live together peacefully. These various communities can be defined by language, ethnicity, religion, etc. In this way, it is the multiplicity of plurality identities of the different communities that bind them together. Socially and culturally, India is one of the most diverse countries of the world. Our country is proud of having the second highest population of the world, which comes about 1024 million people. They speak different languages and dialects. India has a population of about 1.21 billion people according to 2011 census. Currently the second largest and soon to become the largest population in the world. These people speak 1632 different languages and dialects. 18 of these languages have been officially recognized and placed under the 8th schedule of the Constitution of India, thus guaranteeing their legal status. In terms of religion, above 80.5% of the population are Hindus, who in turn are regionally specific, plural in beliefs and practices, and divided by caste and language. About 13.4% of the population are Muslims, which makes India the world's third largest Muslim country after Indonesia and Pakistan. The other major religious communities are Christians 2.3%, Sikhs 1.9%, Buddhists 0.8%, and Jains 0.4%. Because of India's huge population, the small percentages can also add up to large absolute numbers.